For the time that we have allotted today, I'm gonna go over 3 things with you. The first is very specifically what you're doing wrong. Everybody here keeps saying you want likes and follows. You know what you should be measuring? Conversion. The second thing we're gonna go over is strategy, strategic, because most people teach mindset because they can't teach tactics. 86% of agents in 5 years are completely gone. 70% are gone in the first year. I'm having lots of conversations with people where there's tears because they're having to drive Uber. Because the marketplace changed. We went from 6.5 million transactions to 4 million. And you can do it, doesn't cut it. And then the third thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna go over with you how to build an ecosystem of attention. Because attention goes from short form to medium to long. And I'll show you in your own experience how that works.
My name is Liz Casares. I go by Liz Casas. And I didn't get into the business of real estate because I thought it would be easy. I got into the business of real estate because I needed freedom. I was tired of clocking in and out, you know, in my 9-to-5 job. Tired of kind of putting my kids on a back burner. If they got sick, oh well, right? I had to put them second. So I knew that I needed more time with him, and my time is also kind of going away from me because my daughter's 15 and my son is 9. And so I decided that I was going to join real estate. And like most of us, you know, we think, oh, well, I've been in sales. This is going to be super easy. You know, business is just going to fall right in my lap. I was so wrong.
Nope.
You know, I got licensed. I joined a broker that told me to wear my name tag to the grocery store and that, you know, customers and people were going to start asking me questions. We were going to start a conversation and, you know, it was going to be super easy. Told me to host open houses and that business was going to, you know, fall right in my lap. And that wasn't the case. I was frustrated, disappointed, and I was constantly saying like, well, you know, everyone else has it better than I do because, you know, everyone had better opportunities than I did. So I was constantly acting like a victim. I was saying, well, you know, they didn't have to immigrate here when they were 4 years old. You know, they speak the language, and it was just always about, you know, me, how I can't do better. And so, you know, fast forward 7 months after being in this broker, my bank account being drained financially.
How much money did you make in 7 months?
$300.
Yep, sounds about right.
You know, I went to this vision board. I remember that day very clearly. It was like January, end of January. I went to this vision board that this lady was hosting, Jessica Nelson. And I listened to her story, how, you know, she came here from a completely different place, not knowing a single soul, didn't grow up here. She did 52 deals her first year, and I thought, what in the world? Like, how do you do that? And here I am complaining. I grew up in the Dallas area, know everyone and their moms, and I can't even, you know, I can't even get a deal. I did one rental the entire time I was with that broker. And so, you know, she talked the talk, she walked the talk. This lady, her numbers were real. And I said, I want to be just like her. I want to be just like her. And so the day that I met her, I asked her, like, what is it that I need to do? And of course she told me, and I didn't like it. She said, Liz, you need to cold call. And I thought, wow, really? Who wants to cold call? That's uncomfortable. I don't want to get cussed out at. I don't want to get yelled. And what am I supposed to say? You know, I had no idea. I didn't know how to do any of that. And so I remember that day at the vision board, I said, this is the day where I stop making excuses, where I'm no longer going to point the finger at everyone else, and I'm going to start pointing the finger at myself and taking action. I don't know about you guys, but during that time, it was the most darkest time for me because I needed to make something happen. I was going through a divorce of, I was married to my husband for 18 years and we were separating. And so I needed to make something happen. And that day was when I decided that, it's going to happen. And so my advice to you guys is, if you're new, if you're a seasoned agent and you're looking to do more deals, is find a guide. Find someone that is going to teach you the things that they have already done and that you're looking to do. Find someone that's going to push you, that's going to call you out on your BS, because it's very uncomfortable to hear the truth. And so for me, that person, that guide was Jessica Nelson. If you guys can help me welcome Jessica Nelson.
She forgot to tell you the most important part. She completed 15 deals in the past 12 months. She and what did you just do for your with your family?
Well, I just purchased a house. I grew up in a mobile home with 5 siblings, and my dream was to one day own a house, purchase my own house, and I did that.
Let's go.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So the reason why she shared that story is because maybe some of you are in different parts of your journey. Maybe some of you are already top producers doing really well. Maybe some of you are deciding whether real estate is for you or maybe it's not for you right now. But what we can all learn from these experiences is if we put in the work, the results are always going to be there. And one of the reasons why we put on these events that we're doing today is to have one goal for everyone in this room. That one goal that we have is to help you create a check that pays you in the next 45 days or less. Who wants a check in 45 days or less? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Make some noise.
I love checks.
Let's go. Let's go. So for me, that journey started with this gentleman right here. I was also in a dark place. I'm not going to go dark with you guys, but I needed a guide. I needed someone who could show me how to do more deals. Someone who could show me how to be a better person, right? Because in order to become more successful, we also have to change who we are if we're not doing things the right way. So a guide is someone that cares for you and holistic, not just make money for me. It's, hey, I want to help you improve in your life. I want to help you be a better mother, a better father, a better brother, a better sister. And that gentleman is here today, all the way from Florida.
Yay.
2,000 homes sold, a guide to over 100 agents. 10 of them have produced over $1 million in income a year. 4 of them are verified by Real Trends, an honor that is only given to the top 50 realtors in the country. Mr. Aaron Novello.
Yay.
You have one?
No, I got one. Yeah. Thank you. It was really cool to see that kind of transition of knowledge and information, which is the way that it's supposed to be, right? Leadership is really discipleship. So I got a question for you guys. Which would you prefer? $100,000 in liquid cash right now, or 100,000 subscribers on YouTube? Here's what's interesting. Some of you guys are like, yo, I could use that 100K right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be nice. But then there's a part of you that's considering, I don't know, which is actually the best move, yes? And that's indicative of the fact, like that demonstrates that at a bone deep level, you recognize that attention is equal, if not more valuable than money. Ooh, that is interesting. But yet, do we behave that way? No. Now, it's fascinating. I was asking some of you guys, like in preparation, like, hey, what are you looking to get from our time together? And I heard the same thing repeatedly. Yeah, I understand attention is important. I do not have any strategy on what to do. Yeah, I don't know how to use the platforms. Yes? Okay. And this was me probably 4 years ago, because I had built my business by telemarketing, yeah, picking up the phone, calling people, which works, by the way. Okay. But I heard this. I was at this place where I'm like, hey, like this is a thing. I kind of know it's a thing, but maybe it's not for me. Yeah. But then I heard this quote and it really stopped me in my tracks. It said, if you are a crappy marketer, you have to become a rock star salesperson. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a recovering crappy marketer. Okay? Because I had to turn myself into a rock star. Yeah, you are too. I had to turn myself into a rock star salesperson, right? I would prospect 3 hours a day, 6 days a week. Did that for 17 years in a row. So that got me thinking. And I did what I always do when I don't know something, is I seek out a guide. Yeah? And I was very intentional and purposeful about the guide that I seek out. So the challenge is now with these platforms, you don't necessarily have to be competent in order to be famous. And that's problematic, yeah? Particularly if I'm trying to figure out who should I be going to about how to do this. Like, I find what's so interesting is in our industry, we'll put people on panels to talk about media who don't make any money from media. Yeah? Like, yeah, just like put the camera on, put it in front of your face. I'm like, this is dumb. Yeah? So I sought out a guide and I asked Jose, who's been out here. He's a partner of ours. I've coached him for 10 years. He did $2.1 million last year in GCI. He's in a mastermind called the Collective Genius. You have to own 30 properties to be in that mastermind. Okay? So I said, hey man, who in your group is the best at media? He said, dude, there's a couple guys, they sell courses. Nobody makes more money than Ryan. That's who I want to talk to. Yeah? This guy's name's Ryan Pineda, so I reached out to him. I paid him $25,000 to teach me how to use media. Now, some of you guys are, oh, that's a lot of money. But remember, attention is what? More valuable than money. So I should be willing to trade money for attention all day long, yes? And he proceeded to share with me what these platforms are for, how to actually use them, how to build an ecosystem of attention. And then I matched that with some other information that I learned in terms of strategy, building a story brand. I went from 2,000 followers on Instagram to just under 60,000 today. The Instagram channel gets around 800 to 1 million views every 90 days. Let me ask you a question. If you had 800,000, okay, anybody heard of Madison Square Garden? Yeah? Do you know how many people it sits? 19,500 people. So if you have 900,000 views in 90 days, that's selling out Madison Square Garden how many times? 10, 9, 8? That's pretty dope, yeah? Yeah. So if you had 800,000 people looking at you, do you think more people would reach out to you to do loans? 100%. Yeah? I went from nothing on YouTube to last year, 1.8 million views on YouTube, 79,000 hours worth of watch time. That is 8 years of human life. Let me ask you a question. In a different world, like I would have to be Taylor Swift to get that level of attention, yeah? Sell out stadiums like that. That's crazy. And by the way, you have distribution and it's free in your pockets. But you know what you use it for? Entertainment. Meanwhile, there's people all around you that are using it to get rich. Kim Kardashian, the sharpest knife in the drawer? No. She parlayed attention into a product that she sells. She's a billionaire with a B. Ba-ba-ba. Kendall, yeah? Kendall Jenner. She attention into cosmetics. She is now a billionaire. Kylie, whatever. Okay. I don't know. They're all the same to me. Like, I don't, So I took this information 4 years later. Now we have some influence and some attention. And I believe that everybody in this room with the right understanding of what you're doing wrong, because I'm here to tell you and look you right in the face and say 95% of you are doing this wrong. You're using media as a mechanism to glorify your ego, not to position yourself as a guide to help people to solve their problems. Most of you guys are in the real estate business and you post yourself working out. I have no idea why you do that. That does not position you to help anybody's problems in real estate. Do you understand? I spent the last 17 years of my career selling over 2,000 properties. I started a coaching company that was recently named by Housing Wire in 2025, top 25 coaching companies for agents that want to learn what to say and how to say it. I used to own part of a Keller Williams office. I sold it back. And in the last 3 years, I've attracted 438 agents in 16 states to EXP. That's where you clap. Yeah, that's where that happens. Okay. So what we're going to do for the time that we have allotted today, I'm going to go over three things with you. Okay. The first is very specifically what you're doing wrong, because you can't change what you're not aware of. Yes. The second thing we're going to go over is strategy, strategic, because most people teach mindset because they can't teach tactics. You know, they say to you, they're like, Catalina, you can do it. That's dumb. They're not showing you how to do anything, yes? And we're going to walk through kind of manually how to think about this and strategically how to be creating content. And then the third thing we're going to do is I'm going to go over with you how to build an ecosystem of attention. Because attention goes from short form to medium to long, and I'll show you in your own experience how that works. So that way you can use media instead of a mechanism to glorify your ego, you can use it, right, as a mechanism to position yourself, a guide to help people to solve their problems. Because when that happens, they'll reach out to you and you do more deals. Who's up for this AI? I'm sorry, we did not wake up for that level of energy. High energy equals high income, yes? Yes. You ever seen somebody like this who makes a lot of money? Well, Bird, how are you? No. Okay, so I'm going to ask you again, but I want it to be reflective of the fact that what we're going to go over is literally worth millions of dollars. So who's up for learning how to use media as a mechanism to do more deals in 2025? Say yes. Yes. Okay, good. So now maintain that level of energy, because the energy that you bring to information is the energy that you bring back to the information when you're reviewing it later. Yes? So do your best to maintain that level of energy. Okay, so I'm a show me kind of guy, not a tell me kind of guy, right? So these are analytics from YouTube. 316,000 views in the last 90 days. Okay, 11,000 hours worth of watch time. And we're actually monetized. Shouldn't it be a criteria that if anybody's going to talk about media, they're actually monetized on those platforms? Yeah. So why do you guys go to panels where people are sitting there who do 5 deals a year and they're talking about media? That is dumb. Okay. Here's some more kind of analytics from the channel. Look, 821,000 impressions. Okay. This is a form of prospecting. Yes or yes? Yes. 100%. Okay. So when I say the word currency to you guys, what immediately comes to your head? Money. So if attention's currency and it's actually more valuable, why is attention more valuable than money? Who can tell me? Oh. Well, explain what you mean by compounds. That's right. So Einstein said that the 8th wonder of the world was compound interest, yeah? Media compounds because the audience keeps getting bigger. Yes? So as the audience compounds, you can monetize that in all types of ways. Does that make sense? Okay. And frequency equals familiarity. So old school, people would have bus benches, billboards, like all this stuff. Why? Because the more you see me, the more familiar you become with me. Yes? Well, according to Google, people touch their phones 150 times a day. Check text messages, calendars, right? What's going on? You're on your platforms. I'll be conservative. An hour and a half a day, let's say. Yeah, scrolling. What would increase the chances during your hour and a half per day that you would see me? Frequency. You guys post once a week and you're like, I'm doing it. Nope. Imagine there's billions of people. Yep, billions and billions of pieces of content. Yeah? So I post 3 times a day, 7 days a week on all platforms, short form. Got to be serious if you want people to pay attention. Yes? Okay. And what happens is people create a parasocial relationship. Anybody besides Jessica or Mark, because I've taught them this, know what a parasocial relationship is. So anybody like previous to media, yeah? Maybe you had a TV or a movie star or a musician or an artist that you used to watch all the time, listen to all their stuff, consume it. And then you felt like you knew them. Did you know them? No. I remember like my sister one time, like some celebrity she liked, like something happened, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm like, bro, you don't even know her. But she had what? Feeling. She had a parasocial relationship. Yes?
Throw it out there. Anita, when she got here, she said, I feel like I know Jessica. She says it's so weird meeting.
Why? Why did you feel like you knew her?
For the exact reason.
Yes, team. Yeah, now here's what's fascinating about that, and I know she wouldn't mind me sharing it because I know I was sharing with Tevin, right? I I said, what do you think stops people? Because, hey, yes or yes, do we all know this is important? Yes. It's like a trick question. Wait, what? So I'm like, well, what do you think stopping you from doing it? There's two things stopping you from doing it. The first is a lack of strategy. You don't really understand it. Knowledge equals confidence and ignorance equals fear. Ignorance doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you don't know something. And we haven't taken the time to figure it out, but wouldn't it make sense to do that when people are becoming billionaires?
You're so right.
No, yeah, thank you. I said it to my son. He's like, you're right. I'm like, I know. You know what I mean? You know what the second reason is? Who can tell me? Nope. Internal. I'm not pretty enough, fast enough, quick enough. People are going to laugh at my lipstick. They won't like my eyebrows. I'm not blah, 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 blah. Yes? Look at everybody's heads nodding. That's fascinating, isn't it? That what's actually stopping us is internal. You know what I tell people all the time? Okay, so let's check this out. So what am I valuing then the most if I let that internal thing stop me? People's opinions of me. Check this out. 100 years from now, everybody you know will be dead. And everybody they know will also be dead. So why am I letting their opinion stop me from doing anything? That's foolish. It's silly. Yeah? And most of us sat in classrooms where we were told, don't make any noise. Be quiet. Yeah? And if you did, what happened? Naughty, naughty. Yeah? You know what's completely counterintuitive? You know what media is? Hey, hey, hey! Hey! And you tell people what I actually believe, because you know what happens? I become polarizing. If I make a definitive statement, Martha's either going to be like, that is my guy, or I hate his guts, and there's no in between. Most of you guys can't stand somebody not liking you. Here's what I want you to know. There's many people in your life right now that don't like you. Yeah? But we overvalue their opinions, guys. Like, who cares? This is a tool. Let me ask you a question. I get what these platforms get from us. They get our data, yeah? Which they make ungodly amounts of money with, yes? What do we get from it? Social, listen to me, social currency. You're like, oh, somebody liked my post. I'm such a good girl. That's immature, guys. I'd much rather the money. Yes? Okay, good. Speaking to the right crowd. Okay. Now, here's the thing that you guys are all doing wrong. I can say that emphatically, because everywhere I give this talk, everybody's doing it. So I'm dating myself. I'm 44. When me and my lovely wife, who's in the back in the red right there, prospecting works. It does. When we were in college at the University of Florida, Facebook first came out. Some of you guys are old enough to remember that, yeah? Now, Facebook algorithm was on the social graph. What do I mean by social graph? And not Jessica or other people I've taught this to. What do I mean about the social graph? What do you think I mean by that? Nope. The social graph is, here's the food I'm eating. I'm with Melissa right now. Here's what I'm doing. Yes? Which is what all you guys do. Which, hey, everybody look at me very closely. Nobody cares. You know who watches that? Your mom. It's wildly boring. Yeah, I know, but we still do it, which is dumb. But then TikTok comes around about 7 years ago. Their algorithm is on the interest graph. What does that mean? It only shows me things I'm interested in. So in the past, Facebook used to only show me what my friends were doing. Social, yes? That's where you get the word social media. TikTok comes around, and it's on the interest graph. Why is that superior? Because what Aaron or Christine thought was dope 20 years ago when I was 20 is not what I think is cool now. It's not what I'm interested in now. So it can change with who? Me. That makes that algorithm superior because it'll keep me forever. Yes? So what was the response? Because they start losing their lunch. Instagram makes reels. YouTube makes shorts. Yes? Which are all on the interest graph. So what all you guys are doing wrong is you're constantly posting pictures of you with your friends and you playing football and you at the football game and you with your kids, and you're doing it wrong because the algorithm is not pushing social, it's pushing interest. So let me ask you a question. We're all in real estate in some capacity, yeah? So who's the avatar that because are we creating content for everybody? No. I only want to speak to my avatar. Yeah? So your avatar might be somebody selling, like wants to buy or sell real estate, right? Do they care about your birthday party? So why do we keep doing it? Do they care about your vacation? Why are we doing it? Most of us are insecure. We're looking for significance from other people, like you're so cool. You see what I'm saying? That's wild. Okay? So stop doing this immediately. And here's what you need to be doing instead. So this is 2 examples of social graph, interest graph. So this is an event we did. It's called the Do More Deals Summit. We had a couple hundred agents there. We do it once a year. You guys are all invited. We'll do it again next year. We had Leo Perea there, the CEO of EXP. We had Pace Morby. He has the #1 creative finance book in the country, millions of followers. I also had Ryan Secco, who's the vice president of Cardone Capital, $15,000 portfolio. But this is a social post, yes? Who you're with, what you're doing. Yeah? But anybody know who this guy is? Okay, he's a guy by the name of Alex Hormozy. This is interesting because his avatar said yes, his not avatar said no. All the women were like, I have no idea who he is. All the guys, hey, you know his wife. All the guys, hey, you know what all the guys said? I know him. It's fascinating, yes? When I look at my metrics, 85% of everybody who watches my content is a man between the ages of 18 and 45. The women who follow me or consume content are usually like Jess, very aggressive, ambitious, hard charging. They have masculine energy. It's just true. I know that. So for that reason, guess what I did? I went to my wife and I said, hey, I need you to start doing media because you can attract people I cannot. Who won't even watch me. Yeah? So now she has a handle, Elite Builders Ladies. Yeah? Yeah, father. Yeah. So, but he only posts content about what, for those who know him? Business. Period. Because guess who he sells to? Business people. Is this logical? Does this make sense? Okay. So stop doing the social stuff. Do interest graphs. So let's say you were sharing with me, Tevin, you have you and your dad, you have a vertically integrated thing. You sell real estate, but you also raise money in this and this. So who's the avatar? Who would you be speaking to directly? So there's 2 people, accredited investors who have resources. Yes? So here's the question. What do they want or need to know about? What are they interested in? That, but what else are they interested in? Oh. Tax benefits. Rate of returns. What else? Yes, right? Over time. How many times have you done this? Common mistakes that you should look for. So let me ask you a question. Which would be much more powerful? A post of Tevin with his family or a video of him explaining the common mistakes that accredited investors make? 3 common mistakes that they should avoid prior to giving money to a syndicator. Because that one will speak to who? The one he wants to speak to. That will get your attention too because you do syndications. I invest money in syndications too. Like, okay, that would be something I would be interested in. Does that make sense? Okay. So stop doing social, do interest. So I want you guys all to start to think, who's your avatar? Who's the person that you're trying to talk to? They're probably somebody who wants to buy and sell where? In your geographic area. So now let me ask you a question. What do they care about? What do they want to know about? What are questions that buyers ask you all the time? School districts, what else? Things to do, what else? Kids. Hey, are they like, hey, what do you get? What are the 3 best neighborhoods in this geographic area? Hey, what do you get for $550 here and what do you get for $550 there? Yes? They're telling you what they want to know about, but you're not listening. listening because you're too busy posting about yourself. That's crazy. And you wonder why nobody calls you. Yes? Okay. So, this is what you should be doing instead. This comes from a book. I didn't make this up, okay? It comes from a book called Building a Story Brand. You should all write that book down. And you should all read it. Yep. Building a Story Brand. It's written by a guy named Donald Miller. Me and my wife saw Donald Miller speak. I leaned over. As soon as I heard him speak, I said, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. Okay? So I devoured the book. I started teaching it to people in our organization. And by the way, I just want to mention, and I know she wouldn't mind me sharing, it took me 6 months to convince Jessica to do media. Why do you think it took me 6 months? I'm pretty persuasive. And we have a long history together, yeah? I've been coaching her for like 4 or 5 years, however long it's been. Why do you think it took her 6 months? What was the main reason you guys all said that stops you? Internal. And she won't mind me sharing this. You know what she actually said to me out loud? I don't look like I'm 20 anymore. Yeah. But do you know what I said to her back? Listen to me. Kim Kardashian did a very huge disservice to women. Do you know what she ushered into the world? Look at me. Instead, what I'm telling you is you need to say, listen to me. Those are two different things. Sometimes, bro, I'll look at people's feeds. I'm like, I don't know what you're selling. Yeah? Like I'll have real estate agents, and again, I mean this lovingly. I don't mean this in any way, but like women who'll come to me and they'll ask me about media, and I'll look at their page. I'm like, I don't know what you're selling. Yes? Yeah, like, oh, hey, you know what it is? That's a different form of prospecting. You are speaking to a different avatar. Now, to her point, pay attention. You ready? The level of progress that a man or a woman will experience is directly correlated with the amount of truth that they can withstand. I told her the truth to her face. But when I told her the truth to her face, somebody who tells you the truth, they actually care. It was a form of love. Because I looked at her feed and I'm like, girl, I don't know what you're doing. And some people will be like, he's a jerk. Hate that guy. Never want to talk to him again. She did not do that. She completely pivoted and now is doing this. And now somebody flew from where? Phoenix to be here because she saw her online. That's crazy. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you guys, this works. So, StoryBrand format. We've been telling stories for thousands of years as humans. It's the only thing that we have, technology, that can hold humans' attention for extended periods of time, like hours at a time. Yeah? And because of that, we've come up with best practices of how to tell stories. And what I'm about to show you is every movie you've ever watched, every book you've ever read, every play you've ever seen. Okay? There is a hero, yeah, who has a problem. So think about a movie you watched. What's the beginning? They introduce you to who? The hero. And what do they tell you right away? What their problem is. They want the girl, they want the guy, they want the money, they want the whatever it is. Yes? Okay. So they have a problem. Which can a hero solve a problem themselves? Why? They need a guide. How interesting. Yes? They can't solve the problem themselves. Otherwise, there would be no story. Got it. Okay. They meet a guide who gives them a plan. Yeah? Then they have to call the hero to action, just like I needed to call her to action. Heroes don't take action on their own accord. They need to be pushed. Yes? I had to call her to action, sometimes kicking and screaming. Yeah? Okay. She used the plan. She got what she wanted, and she avoided what she didn't want. Yes? That is every story. Okay, let me prove my point. Harry Potter, yeah? Who's the hero? Harry. Does he know he's the best wizard on the planet? No. Does he even know how to use magic? No. Who's the guide? Dumbledore. Who's the most powerful person in the story? The guide. But you guys keep making yourself the hero. Yes? Luke Skywalker, a little older reference. Star Wars. Luke is the hero. Obi-Wan is the guide. Yeah? Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games. Katniss is the hero. Hamish is the guide. Story is a sense-making mechanism. It's how we make sense of the world. Narrative. Yeah? So here's what happens. When you're doing on the social graph and you're making yourself the hero, when Tevin sees it, you know what he thinks in his head? He doesn't realize this is happening. This is what happens. Oh, Aaron's a hero just like me. Because by the way, do you all see yourself as heroes in your own story? Yep. So you're like, oh, Jonathan's a hero just like me. I wish I could stop and listen to what he has to say, but I'm too busy looking for a guide to help me to solve my problems. So the reason why she hopped on a plane and came over here, I'm sorry, it's Frida? Anita, I'm sorry, I couldn't see her. Yeah, so Anita got on a plane because she perceived Jessica as a guide to help her to solve her problems. Do you understand? Do you know how hard it is to get people to come to this event? Bro, I'm giving $1 million worth of game. This room should be packed, right? To get somebody to get on a plane. No, it's she's doing this. Okay? So, this is an example, right? The hero is the customer. You keep making yourself the hero. When you show your stupid little key, here I am at closing. Who's the hero? You. Yes? Hey, look at my new listing. Who's the hero? You. Yeah? I watched somebody in our, which I told him about, but he did a post. He's like, I was able to get $10,000. Who's the hero? He was. You feel me? Okay. So when we position, like I said, ourselves as the hero, we position ourselves as the second weakest person in the whole story. The weakest person is the villain. Voldemort didn't even have a body. Yeah? Second weakest is the hero. Third is the guide. So if you pulled out your phone right now, looked at your feeds, who's the hero? You are. Look at me, I'm so cool. Give me all the likes. I'm thirsty for likes. I'll dance and sing like an idiot to get you to like me. It's immature. Okay, they have a problem. Okay, so let's do an example. So like, what are problems that buyers and sellers have? Let's say buyers. What are problems that buyers have? People in finance, like what are problems that they have? What? None of them have any money. They need down payment assistance. They want to know, is there a way, let me ask you guys a question. Is there a way that they can get a 4% mortgage in 2025? I know, new construction. Yeah, right? So what other problems do they have? Credit. What else? They don't know what options are available to them in terms of like government-sponsored programs. Employment. Yeah, all the above. So why aren't you guys making videos about that stuff? Because I'm too busy trying to be the hero, bro, with my stupid key. Okay, problem. And there's 3 levels of problems: external, internal, and philosophical. People actually make more decisions because of internal and philosophical problems more than external. So I'll give you an example. So let's say that buyer who wants to buy a home, but they need down payment assistance. The external problem is money. What's the internal problem? They feel like a loser if they don't buy a house. What's the philosophical problem? They feel like they'll never be able to buy a house. And it's unfair. There's all these rich people and they have houses and I don't. Yeah? The more you know their problems and speak about them, the more they'll call you. And then they meet a guide, right? Customers are not looking for another hero. They are looking for a guide. If heroes in the story could solve their own problems, they would. Nearly every human is looking for a guide. Everybody in this room is looking for a guide for spiritual stuff, financial stuff, relationship stuff. Yeah? Okay. And if you position yourself as the hero, like I said, they're like, oh, here's another hero. I wish I could listen to their story, but I'm too busy looking for a guide. Okay? Sorry, did you get that? Okay. I can send you the slide deck. Who gives them a plan, right? It's the very specific, detailed plan that they can use to solve their problem. And then they call them to action. So a lot of you guys do media posts, but you don't ask anybody to do anything. Do you know what people do if you don't give them a call to action? Nothing. What would be examples of call to action? Click the link, good. DM me the word, whatever. If you want to learn more, be sure to follow me. That's a call to action. Yes? Right, so think about it. If you look at all of your posts, are you calling anybody to action? Nope. You just want to be watched. That's wild. You actually want social currency more than you want actual currency. That's crazy. Okay. And they want to avoid failure. We're all trying to avoid failure, yes? All of us. Right? Every human is trying to avoid a tragic ending. Right? So the question is, what's at stake? Right? So in other words, like, let's say that post, like, you know, here's Susie. Instead of the stupid picture of you in front of the house, like, here's a home I just sold. Who's the hero? You. But instead, who should be the hero? Depending on who you're working with, seller or the buyer. But let's say the buyer. What problem did they have? Getting finance, whatever. So here's a home that we recently helped a buyer who wasn't sure if they were going to be able to get financing, and they also needed down payment assistance. And they were really thinking to themselves, gosh, like, are we ever going to be able to purchase a home? Now, I had the good fortune of connecting with them. We used this 3-step plan, 1, 2, and 3. Here's a picture of them in their house enjoying it. And now they never have to worry about renting again. So if you want to have a confidential conversation about how you could be a homeowner too, DM me the word buy. Look at story branding. What's happening? Who's the hero? The client. Are we clear on what their problem was? Who's the guide? Did I give them a plan? They used the plan. They got what they wanted. They avoided failure, tragic ending. Yes? Guys, is this rocket science? No. We just have to get clear on it, and we have to overcome our pride. Because we want to be worshipped instead of to worship. If I'm not clear what's gained or lost, nobody cares. So an example would be like Liz, right? She made $300. She was this close to being out of the business. 86% of agents in 5 years are completely gone. 70% are gone in the first year. I'm having lots of conversations with people where there's tears because they're having to drive Uber. Because the marketplace changed. We went from 6.5 million transactions to 4 million. And you can do it, doesn't cut it. Yes? But here's what's interesting. Because she got proximity. Proximity is power. She got access to the right information, whatever. She made over $100,000 last year and bought a house. So what's at stake? Die on the vine, get a job, or be successful? You see what's at stake? Now that you're clear what's at stake and I understand what the problem is, I can position myself as to help you to solve that problem, baby. Okay? And then we want to end in success. You must show people the cost of not doing business with us. Yeah, dude, like people come to me, they're like, hey, why should we partner with you? I don't know, like maybe you shouldn't. Tell me what your experience has been so far. How many deals are you doing? How many were you doing the year before that? Oh, it dropped? Why do you think that is? What do you think if you had more of, you'd be able to continue to do more transactions? Interesting. So it seems like what's at stake is if you don't do this, let me ask you a question. If you keep doing this amount of transactions, will you be able to stay in this business for an extended period of time from a financial perspective? Okay, so it seems what's at stake is you can either get proximity or do something else. Which works for you? Yeah? Being able to frame this and make people very clear on what is at stake. And that'll help you to convert. So let's do I want you guys tactically to see how this works. Okay, so we gave you some little printouts here. So think about who your avatar is, right? Where it says character. Look at you, bro. What a good student. She's already filling this thing out. So she gets the star, the gold star, bang. So think about who your avatar is. Who's the hero? Let's choose like a buyer or a seller. Okay? Then write out what their problems are. Like let's say, a particular problem. They're not sure if they can get down payment assistance. What's the external problem? Money. What's the internal problem? I feel like a loser if I don't buy a house. What's the philosophical problem? I feel like I'll never be able to buy a house. I have to rent forever. Right? Then what plan would you give them? Okay. Then what would the call to action be? What would be the success and what would be the tragic outcome if they don't do it? And then I'll choose like a couple of you just to see. So this is good. So for you, Tevin, do like accredited investors. Oh, so in order for a guide, that's a good question. Jessica asked, what do I mean by empathy and authority? In order for a guide to be perceived as a guide, they have to deploy 2 characteristics. Now, when I ask this to people, they usually put this one first, and it's actually second. Because what does our industry notoriously lead with? Don't you know who I am? Can you imagine going to Dunkin' Donuts and Martha, you go in there and they're like, hey, I don't know if you know this. I'm kind of a big deal. I'm like the #1 donut seller in Dallas. In fact, I have a piece of plastic on the wall that says so. I believe what you would do is Jonathan would look at Melissa and be like, is this guy serious right now? I just want a donut. I don't care. But yet as an industry, do we all do that? I'm the #1. I X amount of million in volume, blah, blah, blah. We're leading with authority. Instead, what we should be leading with is empathy. I understand your problem. Yeah? Sympathy is where you feel for someone. Empathy is where you feel with them. Yeah? So leading with empathy. So let's say you're calling in expired. What would be leading with empathy? Listen, I understand that it's super frustrating and annoying to be bombarded with phone calls early in the morning. I'm sure you didn't wake up this morning, Julia, expecting that to happen. So just so you know, that's going to persist for probably another couple days or so, and then it should slow down and stop. I'll be sure to take it off my list. While I have you on the phone, though, I guess I'm curious. Your home's lovely. It's in a great geographic area. If you don't mind me asking, was there any particular reason you were even considering selling? I led with empathy. The next is authority. Now, most of us do low level, like authority is the lowest form of influence. Lowest. And we try to do it with like superlatives. You know, I find it fascinating that we have an industry where people need like letters behind their name that the consumer has no idea what it means. It's dumb. Yeah? I'm a PPS and a CPI and like nobody cares. The consumer's like, I don't even know what that is. Let me ask you a question. Have you guys ever been in the presence of somebody who asked you a series of detailed questions that brought up things you didn't even think about and recognized you were in the presence of somebody who was competent? Yeah? You don't need to like all this puffery. Okay. So, and then they call to action. What will be the call to action? DM me the word, you know. What's the transition? If you want to learn more about how to invest in our projects, yeah? Or if you want to get a free PDF that'll give a breakdown of the tax ramifications of buying an investment property in Dallas, DM me the word money, right? What's the successful outcome? Does the buyer get the house? The seller gets sold in the time frame that they want? Do they save money on taxes? Were they able to do a 1031 and avoid having to pay a bunch of taxes on it? What's the tragic ending? The tragic ending for that accredited investor is they're not able to deploy the capital. It sits in the bank and loses money every month. I legitimately want this to inform all of your media. If you need to, like pull this out before you shoot something and walk through it. Because over time, do you notice how like I can just do it? It's because I've been doing it a long time, so now it's just like second nature. Does that make sense? At first it'll be awkward and weird because I'm too used to making myself the hero. Yeah, so like an external problem would be like, let's say for a buyer who like needs down payment assistance, or they need a 4% interest rate to be able to afford a home. The external problem are the current interest rates. The internal problem would be like, man, if I'm not able to buy a home, like I'm a loser. The philosophical problem is I'm gonna have to rent forever. And it's not fair because like, you know, I'm a hardworking person, there's rich people out there, and you know what I'm saying? I had to tell my mom the other day, she's like, you know, those people who like avoid taxes and all that other stuff. I'm like, Mom, you're talking about me. I'm like, hey, if I save a bunch of money on taxes, I buy you a condo on the beach, do you care? She was like, no, I guess not. The last thing we're gonna go over is this idea of life cycle of attention. Yeah? So attention goes from short to medium to long. So if I was to ask you, what's the best platform to build a brand on? What are your answers? Not a trick question. I'm genuinely interested. She says all of them. Anybody else? No? What? YouTube? Who else? Instagram? Cool. Okay. So I had the similar question, and when I got connected with Ryan, I spit out Instagram. Because that most of you guys, by the way, you have one that you like, and that's all the one you focus on. I said Instagram. He's like, nope, not even close. I said, what do you mean? He's like, there's one platform whose parent company is Google, which means you have built-in search. Yeah? They also do long form and short form the best. They're the only one that does it the best. Who is that? YouTube. Anita, where were you watching her? Walk me through the ecosystem. Tell me this. Did you see her? It started on short form. Listen. Bro, I love when the real world demonstrates what I'm talking about. So it started on short form, which led you to what? Long form. And it's in long form that what happened? Where did you develop the parasocial relationship, though? Yeah. That's right. So check this out. They do studies that in order for someone to like engage with you, they have to consume 15 hours of your content. In order to get that on short form, somebody would have to watch 5,000 shorts. You guys post once a week and you're like, yeah? In order to get that on long form, even if you have 30 videos that you watch, if you watch half of them that are an hour long, you'll get to the 15 hours. Does that make sense? So it's fascinating. She went through that ecosystem. She started short, went to long, consumed more, then got on a plane. That's wild, okay?
I believe you cannot go to long form without having the details.
Correct. So what the short form is this. You ready? Everybody look at me. Short form is sitting in a room with billions of people going like this. Hey, hey, hey. Hey. That's what it is. Why should I stop and listen to Jonathan? That's all it is, okay? But the goal is to get them to where they can form a parasocial relationship with you. Now, it happens here, but where it really happens is in the consumption, which is YouTube, okay? So, short, medium, long, got it, cool. And you want to create this ecosystem of attention. Short is defined as 60 seconds or less. That is Reels, that is TikTok, that's YouTube Shorts. Anybody have younger or children, I don't know, 5 to 15? Yeah. What are they on all the time? YouTube. Shorts. Yeah. All day long. Do you know that 10% of all TV screen time is now YouTube? It's not taking over. It's not like competing with TV. It's becoming TV. Let me ask you guys a question. If you had the capacity, if I came to you and I was an executive at Netflix, I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm going to give you a series on Netflix. Would you be like, nah, I'm good? Of course not. You'd be like, yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah? What if I told you you had the capacity to create your own series on TV? It's just on YouTube. Oh, bro. Okay, so Grant Cardone has utilized media. Do you know how much money he raises a month? $50 million a month with no banks, no middlemen. All because of attention. Yes? Okay. So that's short form. That examples of that could be like property tours. You guys love property. Oh my God, it's so lazy. You're not adding any value. People can see all that data online. You're just so concerned. Did I get a lot of likes? Did a lot of people watch it? I'll show you. So, examples would be property tours, but with you in it. You know, a lot of you guys do, oh, I did a property tour. I'm like, where are you? I don't see you. Oh, my hair didn't look good that day. Yeah? But now that you know story branding, you could do property tours story branded. Yes? What's the story behind the situation? What's the problem? What's the plan? What are we going to do? Does that make sense? Examples of short form could be neighborhood videos, right? Examples of long form would be like a podcast or where you could be interviewing developers, builders, all different types of people in real estate, right? Now, I want you guys to be clear, you're focused on the wrong metrics. Everybody here keeps saying you want likes and follows. You know what you should be measuring? Conversion. Who's that? Is anybody reaching out and buying? Is anybody getting on planes and coming to see you? Is anybody signing up for your stuff? Because if the answer is no, you're doing it wrong. Yeah? So, yeah, we can skip that. Here, content calendar. Because a lot of, I heard, I'm sorry, your name again? Kristen. Kristen was like, oh, like it's time. How many people use the excuse of time? I don't have time, takes too long, yeah? Excuses are tools for the incompetent built upon mountains of nothingness, and those who use them seldom succeed. We all have the same amount of time, yes? That's what we choose to do with it. Focus. The truth is we make time for things that are important, yes? Does anybody have to tell you to make time to brush your teeth? Or to eat? No? Okay. That means you think those things are important. So if you're not making time for it, I am actually thinking it's not important. Okay? So here's a content calendar that'll make this easy. How can you get to, like, because I think a lot of people get overwhelmed. They think it's like this tremendous thing, but it's really not. So you can choose one day out of the month. How many days out of the month? Okay. Where you shoot 10 to 12 short form videos. You sit in a room, you bang it out. Yeah? At the beginning, this might take longer, but as you get good and you get more comfortable in front of the camera, I'm a one-hit wonder, baby. We're just gonna bang it out. Yeah? But that gives you 10 short form pieces of content. You shoot 2 medium pieces of content. What would be examples of medium? You could say, hey, here's this, let's say you're working in a geographic area, a community. Here's everything you need to know about the hills. Yeah? And it's a nicely produced video. It's like 10 minutes long. You're talking in it. You're the guide. Like, you know everything. Cool. But then what you could do with that medium form video is you can chop it up into shorts. Yes? So every medium video, you might get like, I don't know, 5 shorts. So that'll be 10, which makes us, now we're at like 20 to 22 short form pieces of content. How many days are in a month? Depending on the day, we all know the song, right? Depending on the month. And then we do 2 long forms per month. Long forms per month could be examples of meeting with developers, like talking to lenders, talking to insurance people, all the people in real estate, yeah? Because all of that positions you as a what? A guide to help people to solve their problems. And by the way, you will learn so much. People don't realize how little is required to have a podcast. Like I ask people, I'm like, hey, Martha, you want to be on my podcast? They're like, oh my God, you have a podcast? And you would invite me? You're like, yeah, bro, like nobody watches it, but yeah. Yes? Dude, I went 2 years, you can ask my wife, 2 years, 242 subscribers, 42 episodes. Most people quit. But in that long form, you can then chop that up into short form. Yes? Clips. So what we end up with is 1 post per day, short form, every day, 7 days a week. We end up with 2 pieces of medium, which is building what are we doing? We're building the ecosystem of attention, yes? And then we end up with 2 long. Okay? It's a schedule. And we just have to make time for it. Now, I need you to understand something. If it's not worth doing for a decade, it's not worth doing for a day. The reason why most agents get involved in this and stop is because they call me up, they're like, but Edwin, I did your content calendar for 60 days and nobody called me. I didn't get 1 lead. That's no exaggeration. That's what it sounds like in my head. Okay, when I hear it. This is a long-term thing. But let me ask you a question. 5 years from now, would your future self be happy with you or mad at you? This would make your future self happy, yeah? If you can walk into a room and people know you without you knowing them, is that helpful? Yes, 100%. And here's all you need. A lot of people think, oh man, I got to start. Like I've graduated. When I first started, I had a little teeny camera, little streaming camera. It's like $100, nothing fancy, and your phone. Bro, those phones are wild. They shoot in like HD. Okay? You don't need anything super complicated. You just need tools. You need some ideas, which I'll give you ideas right after this, a slide which you can take a picture of. And then here's the fascinating part. So I have a team now that edits, chops up, and posts. Do you know what they say that the primary issue is for them to be able to do their job for the people that hire them? No, the people don't send them any content. They pay for the service and don't send any content. Okay? So tools, ideas, and just shoot. Listen, anything worth doing well is worth doing poorly before you can learn to do it well. I didn't come out of my mother speaking this way. I made $13,000 my first year of selling real estate. Not something anybody would put you on a panel on and be like, how exactly did you make below the poverty line? Yes? It takes time. But I promise you, if you stick with it, like, it's wild what can happen. And at first, you can do your own editing. That takes some time. I would advise you, whenever possible, again, and I mean this lovingly, I know I'm not talking to anybody in this room, present company excluded. If I see somebody with a Gucci bag and they tell me they don't have money for editing, I say your priorities are screwed up. So eventually graduate as fast as possible to like a VA, a virtual assistant. You can pay like, I don't know, $6 an hour, $7 an hour in the Philippines who could do this. Okay? And then the next step would be like what me and Jessica did, is you hire an agency. And they chop up, edit, post, do all that. Okay. Yep. So here's all your ideas. Actionable, Martha. So this is your calendar for the next 12 months. What to shoot. Cost of living in Dallas, Texas in 2025. Pros and cons of living in Dallas, Texas in 2025. X things you need to know before you move to Dallas, Texas in 2025. X things you did not know about living in Dallas, Texas in 2025. X reasons you should move to Dallas, Texas in 2025. Yeah? X things I wish I knew before I moved here. Okay? Another one here, I don't know if it's on here. X reasons to not move here. Yeah? Okay. 10 safest communities to live in Dallas, Texas in 2025. Top 5 communities in Dallas, Texas in 2025. What market do you guys compete with? If they don't buy here, where do they buy? Austin. So, you ready? Look, where is it? Yeah, Dallas versus Austin. Where should you live? Like the hill. What are 2 communities that are like sought after in Dallas? So Preston Hollow versus Holland Park. Which place is better? What's the average price point here? $550, something like that. So what does $550 get you in Dallas, Texas in 2025? For you, Martha, with your new builds, what does $1 million get you in Dallas, Texas in 2025? Between $1 million and $1.5 million. Yeah, you can buy this resale house. Yeah, that's old. And by the way, you're probably gonna have a 7% mortgage, or you could buy one of Martha's builds, and there'll be concessions, and your payment will be less. You choose. Okay. And what's a sub-market? If they don't come here, like, because it's maybe too expensive, where do they go? Crisco? Frisco. Okay. I'm like, Crisco? Isn't that oil? I don't know. So what does $500,000 get you in Frisco? In Dallas, Texas? Huh? Okay, wherever. You see what I'm saying? But guys, hey, can you ever say now that nobody told you content and what to shoot? So let's get this right. You understand what you're doing wrong, which is social versus interest, yes? So if I see any of you posting pictures of yourself doing anything other that doesn't position you as a guide, I have permission to call you out, yes? Good. I literally asked Jessica, there was somebody in our organization, she posted something, I literally texted her, I said, can you tell me exactly how this positions you as a guide? And it magically disappeared. Okay, so you understand that. We understand story branding, yes? So if you look at your feed, if it's about you, you're doing it wrong. And now we understand ecosystem of attention, and you guys have very clearly your strategy. Because by the way, after you do this, could you recycle this in 2026? So now it is entirely up to you. Those who know and don't do are no different than those who don't know. People who don't read are no different than those who can't. Okay? So now I leave it to you guys. It's entirely up to you to utilize this information to be able to position yourself as a guide to help people to solve their problems. So, if you want a recording of this conversation, you can use that and we'll send it to you. We'll send you the slide deck as well. And whether you guys decide to partner with us or you don't, we're here to help you. We're here to help you facilitate transactions, do more deals, do as many deals as you possibly can, and build as big of an empire as you possibly can. And what I'd like to do to complete our time together today is to maintain that level of energy. Okay, so I need everybody to stand up. And I'm going to end this meeting the same way I end all of my meetings. That's right, some people know what's up. We're going to end with 2 claps and a Ric Flair. If you do not know who Ric Flair is, I feel bad for you. Okay? The way 2 claps and a Ric Flair works is I'm going to say, give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. And when I do that, you're going to go clap, clap, and then you're going to let it all out. Like, woo, like, right? And I want you to do it in a way that if there's anybody in the building, they're like, these people are crazy. Like, I have no idea what's going on. Everybody ready? Okay. Oh, energy feels so good, doesn't it? I just love it. All right. Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo! Let's go over to amazing rest of the day.